Assalamualaikum. Thank you very much. I hope the host can give me the sharing punya. Okay, now I can get it. Right. I hope you can see my screen right now. Fine. So
Yeah.
today, I'm going to continue with what Prof Karim has given us the definition of the engagement in terms of the cognitive, in terms of behavioral, as well as emotional attachment, emotional engagement. So what I'm going to share today is actually some tools. For me, I'm not. Prof Karim is much more tech savvy than me. That's what I can say. He knows more than what I know. But for me, I always pick what is practical, and I explore on it, and I use it extensively lah. That's what I always use in my teaching and learning experience. Okay. When I conducted my teaching and learning, usually I will pick several tools and I try to connect it together. And only then that I use these particular tools lah, because I preferred my information, for example, being at certain places together. Okay. Before I proceed with it, can actually we go to Mentimeter, and then this is my. I'll share the link. So you can either go to menti.com 3605-6309, or you can click the link at the chat section, so that you can respond to me about what were your past challenges in online learning. So this is also requires some kind of thinking juga, It actually asks you to recall a bit of your experience. So can you please share your experience by clicking on the link and then responded to this question? Whether your student did not attend the class, whether they did not answer when you ask questions. All right. So does your student do not have suitable gadget? Do they know how to do the assigned task? Student did not have internet access. Student feel bored with the class. Student did not understand what I taught them. I just wanted to know, because I think some of these were actually the past challenges for many others as well. So I wanted to know, within this audience, do we have this similar kind of issues or problem that we face? Okay. I think in general right now, up to 14 responses, I can see that the second one is always the highest, among the highest. Student did not answer when I ask question. That is also the problem that we face. For example, like all the time when sometimes you try to engage with the student does not respond to you at all. They mute the microphone. They will keep saying that the microphone is going faulty. Then they will of course they will not open the camera. Of course, for us, we feel that okay, it's okay not to open the camera because sometimes it consumes a lot of their data, for example. But even sometimes they're not even participating in the, even when you ask them to talk, to chat in the chat section also, they are not participating. But that is generally that what kind of problem that I think most of us are facing lah. The second one, I think, is also similar. Students felt bored with my class. So sometimes students are easily bored with the class, especially when we keep repeating the similar kind of activities, or there is no activity at all. It's just a lecture, for example. And a student did not understand what I taught them. That is also another challenge. Especially for me, for example, my background is chemical engineering. It's difficult sometimes to explain online, for example, all this theoretical and all this kind of derivation, even to make them, we can explain about the derivation, but whether the students understand or not in terms of the derivation, there is also another challenge that we are facing. But yes, those are the things that that is possible, that is always a challenge to us. And I would say that even for me, it's not easily solved. Everything is not easily solved. Different batches, different kind of students, we will have different kind of problem. But that's That's reality for us as an educator. We keep try to improve ourselves and we become better from that lah. Okay. So actually, what actually that caused the disengagement? Just now, when Prof Karim mentioned about the engagement, for example, like to in order for us to make sure that the engagement happen, we have to make sure that all of these three are connected together, which is the cognitive, the behavioral, as well as the emotional engagement. But this is also a finding from Thomas K.F. Chu. I think he's quite popular within this period. He published a lot of papers with regards to online learning during COVID-19. Okay. And one of the reason that why actually students are a bit disengaged with us is actually because we are not balancing between behavioral engagement as well as cognitive engagement. For example, like when Prof. Karim mentioned just now about cognitive engagement is about making the students doing more. For example, if we ask for one, they will come what with 10, for example. But at the same time, behavioral engagement is also must be there. But sometimes excessive behavioral engagement will also cause the disengagement. For example, like we make it compulsory for the students to watch these videos, to attend the live session, and the students, when they reflect on it, I was told to do this, otherwise I will lose my marks, otherwise uh, I will be I will get low grades and so on. So the students just do for the sake of doing it. They are not doing it for the sake of because they wanted to learn about it. So that is actually one of the harsh reality when we conduct the online learning. When we keep doing whatever, replicate whatever that we did in our physical class and bring it online, that makes a recipe for the disaster of online learning. Okay, because online learning, the way how we engage with the students is different. The students, they stay at their own place, at their own house, for example. They take their own space, okay, and um, and even we cannot monitor them as what we did in our class, for example. Even for example, when we provide them with breakout sessions, engagement, so the students may choose or not to participate in it. So that's why it is very important for us to put a little bit more emphasis on the cognitive engagement instead of putting too much on disciplining, putting the disciplines to the students, which is sometimes excessive of behavioral engagement. Another issue that regards to disengagement is what we call as emotional attachment. So for example, like when the students keep saying that my lecturers just teach non-stop, or actually I barely know my teachers and friends here. So when they start to make that kind of remarks, it means that they are not feeling safe in our class. They are not feeling comfortable to talk to our class. That's why they also make excuses and reason for not answering to us. The idea of having emotional attachment or emotional engagement is not just because that we want to show that we care for them and ask them, every one of them, about, for example, how are you, how's your feeling, for example. It's not about that, but generally just to make sure that they feel safe inside the class. They make sure to feel safe in learning. To make sure that they feel excited in learning. That is sufficient enough to make sure that we are providing us a emotionally attached place for them. Okay, so that's why what happened, what caused the disengagement, because we are some sort of lacking our emotional attachment with them. There are also other factors, for example, like unsuitable gadgets, the educators who are lack of skills to create instructional videos or learning content, students lack of skills in digital content development, and also ineffective online learning experience. Okay. Um, so perhaps you can share with me what are the tools that have been using all this while for online teaching and learning engagement. Can you just respond to the chat for just a quick 30 seconds? What are the things that you've been using in your online teaching and learning engagement, just to make sure that you can stay engaged with your student? Meter, Kahoot, Operative. What else? Padlet, Kahoot, Plus Point, Padlet, Breakout, WhatsApp, Telegram, Plus Point. So I can see that there are a lot of things that we have explored in terms of teaching and learning engagement. Kahoot, Jamboard, Teams Whiteboard, email. Okay, using email. Blackboard. Okay, right. Slido, Kahoot, Mentimeter, Jamboard. I think many of us, we already know that the needs for this engagement, and we are actually using this kind of tools to make sure that we stay engaged with the students. How actually best to deliver online teaching and learning? Okay, so there are actually three things that we have to consider while we deliver online teaching and learning. The first one is we need to make sure that we have engaging content. Okay, that's number one. The second one is in terms of engaging activities. And the third one is the tool should support emotional connection. Okay, we are emotionally connected with the tools. So in order for us to select the best tools for our teaching and learning, we should try to be able to fulfill all these three aspects, three elements together, and we make full use of it. Okay, that's why I would say that sometimes maybe we don't need to use a lot of tools, okay, but we can use some tools of which it actually meets our requirements. Okay, it meets the requirement for us to get engaged with the students. For example, like if you want to have engaging content, okay, there are three aspects that we want to have. For example, is actually how relevant the content to the audience. For example, when we're creating slides, for example, is the font size acceptable? Is it too wordy? Sometimes I have seen actually the lecturers